Welcome back to Tune Into Tarot, and today I have the monthly forecast for April for Aries. So any Aries sun, moon, or rising sign, this is relevant for you. So I've split each week or each month into 4 cards, so 1 card for each week of the month. And so to kick it off for Aries for the month of April, in week 1 we have the 6 of Swords reversed. And the 6 of Swords is all about leaving behind an unsupportive situation for a new situation that is much more supportive. And it could be that this former situation was somewhat restricting or just somehow limiting you in some capacity. And so you finally got the courage to leave that behind. And so you're transitioning into this new situation that's much calmer and much more supportive and in alignment with where you're moving or where you're heading. However, the journey from point A to point B or situation A to situation B can be quite tumultuous. And often it's like this idea that you're carrying around baggage from that former situation. And so now in the reverse position, this is speaking to the fact that you are actually not ready to leave that former situation and you're quite attached to it, and you are you're anchored into, you've grown a lot of roots in that former situation. And so the idea of leaving it doesn't feel like you're not ready to, like there's some loose ends to tie up first before you start to transition into that new space. But another way that this can arise is what I've read before in certain descriptions of this card is like if you're in a partnership and that partner gets a job in a different town or city, and so you're sort of forced to relocate even though it's not really your decision to move. Because you're part of this unit, you go. And so the idea here is that you don't want to focus too much on the drawbacks of that relocation. You want to actually think of the benefits and how that new space is more supportive for you. Come on, just work with me, would ya? So avoid thinking about the drawbacks and focus more on the benefits of what this new city has to offer. I mean, ocean views, clean air, amazing scenery, your family, or whatever this new situation has to offer you, like maybe a new job or a new relationship that you're moving into. If you're leaving like an old relationship, moving into a new one, or leaving an old relationship, moving into single life, that can be fun. But in any case, in the reverse position, you're somewhat anchored still and rooted in that former situation. You're not quite ready to let it go. You're like gripping onto it. So you might need to just tie up some loose ends in week 1 when you start, or when the idea of surfaces of the potential of making some kind of major transition in your life. In the second week, we have the 9 of Wands reversed. And the 9 of Wands is usually feeling like you're under attack to some extent, or you're feeling like ganged up on, or like you're having to defend yourself or defend your viewpoint, defend your position. In the reverse position, it can be like the pressure is so intense that you crumble beneath it, or you surrender to the pressure of all these people kind of ganging up on you. So how I can see this playing out is like people are pressuring you to either leave your situation, the former situation, and move into this new town or city, or like transition into this new area of your life, or you're feeling ganged up on to stay put Kind of either way, it could play out to where, you're feeling like people are attacking you to some extent. But another way that the Nine of Wands has come up in certain spreads that I've read over the last few months, and this is my own personal interpretation. I haven't read this anywhere in Google world, but I see these wands in the background as a wall. And for whatever reason, that idea of a wall made me think of a cell, like a cell with a nucleus and mitochondria and organelles and all that. So we're taking a trip back to biology class. So the idea of a cell surrounding you, and the cell membrane is made up of it's like that semi-permeable membrane, and there's this selective permeability that occurs where the membrane's letting in the good things into the cell that are supportive for the cell's function, but it's keeping sort of the bad things out for the most part. And I see that the Nine of Wands in the upright position would put you in total control of kind of what's coming in and out of your auric field. And so you're letting the good things in. For the most part, you're keeping the bad things out, like the stresses, the draining and straining elements of life are for the most part being kept at arm's length. Of certainly some of those stresses are going to infiltrate your cell, but for the most part, you're able to maintain a sense of equilibrium and be in control of what's coming in and out of your field. So in the reverse position, I see this as a weakening of that system, or a weakening of that selective permeability, where more of the good things in your field are leaking out into the rest of your environment, and more of the bad things are infiltrating. And so it can create a sense of imbalance within you. It can disrupt or disturb your equilibrium or your sense of equilibrium. And so I'm seeing that maybe just the idea of having to transition from this situation into a different situation, it brings up a lot of stress, and it makes sense, especially if it is a relocation, there's a lot involved with that. It's one of the most stressful things that can happen in life. So the idea here is just to try to maintain a strong constitution, and I think this came up with the Pisces reading too, is just make sure you're getting adequate sleep, maybe take some extra sleep herbs to make sure you're sleeping well, eat healthy food, drink a lot of water, and just try to keep your constitution strong during the first couple weeks of April. And then in week 3, we have the Knight of Swords reversed. And the Knight of Swords often has a reputation of being kind of leaping before he looks and being very impulsive and almost reckless, but he has a lot of drive and ambition and determination. In the reverse position, he sometimes lacks that motivation and determination, get up and go mentality. So you may feel like some of the tasks ahead of you are so daunting that you can't even face it right now. You just can't bring yourself to do some of those things. In the reverse position, it can also indicate a need to just slow down. So yeah, if there's been a lot of stress in the first half of the month, hopefully you can take this third week and just kind of slow down. Slow down. And I'm also seeing, because the Knight of Swords can often be a card of impulsivity and acting before you think of the consequences that could occur, that this card is in the reverse position is telling me to do some more planning and plotting. And so if you are going through a transition that involves a lot of steps and the task is daunting, if you can plan and plot those steps right now, if you're not feeling up to the task, it feels too daunting to really tackle those tasks right now, at least plan it out so that when you do have the energy to face those tasks, it's more approachable. So do some planning, some plotting and some hopefully relaxing and just slowing down, I think that will be helpful for you in week 3. And then in week 4, we have the Two of Swords reversed. And the Two of Swords is about being at a crossroads and having to make a decision and not being able to see which decision is actually right for you. And both the upright and the reverse position is about like really not knowing which way to go. You can see she has a blindfold on, she has her arms crossed in front of her, and she's facing away from what I would think would be like the direction she's supposed to go. So you kind of have to turn around, look at your options, take the blindfold off, uncross your arms, and just like open up to it. In the reverse position, it will often tell you that you've done a lot of processing about like direction A, direction B, situation A, situation B, what are the pros and cons, you've weighed it all, you've researched, you've like exhausted all your options and like just really dug into it, and you're still unsure of which way to go. Because what it feels like is there's no right answer, because either way you choose to go, you're going to upset people. So yeah, you choose option A and the people in option B are upset. You choose option B and the people in option A are upset. So it's like you can't win in a way. So it is important to, and this came up in the Pisces reading, was just to like drop into your heart compass and really listen to where your heart is guiding you, and try to not be influenced too much by the people squawking at you, telling you what you should and should not do and shoulding on you, and because they don't know what's best for you, you know what's best for you. So drop into your heart compass and follow that, let that guide you in what direction you should go. But it does feel like this month you're having to make a major decision, and it kind of feels like a relocation, just because homegirl's in a boat moving across a river. And so that's what I'm seeing for Aries for April 2021. And I would appreciate you liking and subscribing to my channel, and share this video with any Aries that you know that has a major placement, sun, moon, or rising sign in Aries. This can be relevant for them. And I hope to see you guys soon. Thank you.